We're predators, cannot escape accountability. This is crazy, bro. This is gonna clip Diddy. This is gonna, yo, son, Diddy might get the 11, bro. Nasty work. Diddy. Damn, son, yo, listen to me, yo. Yo, he's trying to clip Diddy wings with this one, bro. Listen to me. Yo, where I'm at. Where my screen at? I'll bring myself back on screen. Yo, listen. On sandals of Jesus. Yo, bro. It's nasty, bro. It's nasty. I don't care what side of the fence you think you're on this case right now. Reading these victim impact statements. What's crazy is this, you know. Everybody went in there and spoke their speech. So I'm not going to say nobody was acting like nothing, but the way these victim impact statements are reading, I'm telling you, I was in the court every day. I seen me and them testify. I seen all these people testify, bro. Cassie, Jane, everybody. I watched everybody testify. And these words from this victim impact statements are hitting much harder than the trial. And it's not even that long, son. It's just some quick. So imagine if they came in there with the ferociousness for Diddy. Like, nah, it's him. Imagine if the women really came in there with the ferociousness for him, son. It'd probably turned out different for him. If they came with some of this, I'm telling you, bro, it wasn't like this, bro. It really wasn't. The prosecution was trying to pull this out of me or pull this out of them. You know what I'm saying? Then we know that who went against me. I think Steele, right? I think Steele at first. And then he went at it a little bit. I think he called her a name or something like that. And then I think Westmoreland went at me, I think, right? Yeah, man. It's crazy, man. Let's finish up Mia's, though. She says, Your Honor, I ask that you do justice through the sentence that you imposed on October 3rd, 2025. She says, the defendant's wealth, power, and fame should not place him above the law. These forces have shielded him for too long. Certain words you don't want to hear, some, because you know it's true that, you know what I mean, at that level and that power, you know what I mean, many people, you know, Diddy himself, you know, people getting away with that. They're getting away with a lot, bro. They're paying off people, and that's how it is when you up there. That's crazy. So when she brings that, that's harsh for him. That's harsh for him. Shielded him for far too long. I ask you to deliver a sentence that reflects the full measure of harm that he has caused, the years of coercion, financial abuse, humiliation, physical and sexual violence, and the profound trauma that he has inflicted as a result. I ask you to deliver a sentence that takes into the account the ongoing danger my abuser poses to me and others. Oof. A sentence that honors the truth, the pain, and the lives that have been destroyed. A sentence that gives us hope, protection, and justice. So please help us believe that the legal system can offer justice to innocent and vulnerable victims, and that those with power, wealth, and influence cannot destroy lives without consequences. Help us to believe in a world where survivors are heard, believed, and protected. Help us to restore the belief that good can prevail. Help us to ensure that no one else suffers as we have. Help us to believe that justice can and does exist by holding our abuser fully accountable. Now, please, Your Honor, you have the power to show us, the world, and the future that our lives, our voices, and our truth, and our humanity matter. Please help us with gratitude and respect. Mia, it's crazy. Crazy, bro. That's crazy. So regardless of what you think about that, that's crazy. Because I've been talking to you about that, you know, what the judge has on his hands. You know, it's not been cases like this. You know what I mean? Diddy's a big figure. Other people could get tried with this in the future. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? Are you going to leave some mark? This is his big case. This is the judge's OJ case. You know what I'm saying? Big cases like this don't come around. It comes around every little so often. It's like whoever's getting Luigi Mangione case, the guy that, you know what I mean? Certain cases is big cases, bro. But this case is different because it also has race-related issues. In some senses, people made it like a black thing, even in a black and white thing. It became some of that outside. You know what I mean? It became a lot of different things. People had their own spin on this case. You know what I'm saying? So what do we think the judge is gonna do? I don't know. But everybody hit the poll, everybody hit the likes, and make sure you're getting that up. Exhibit D. I'm gonna try to run through it. It's a lot to read. So I'm gonna read some other stuff later too. I'm gonna read some. I can't read all this stuff. Where my shit at? But yeah, can't do this. Puff the magic dragon or something lived by the sea, homie. Hey, y'all probably even dropping those likes, like some real ops. But take it a puff. Magic dragon, homie. Don't tell me I won't download this and re-upload this to get me a little 1-2 view. Stop playing me. Good. All right, cool. Let me see what we got. Yeah. All right, cool. Let's see this. Let me max this so you can see it. Boom, max up. All right, this is where we at. Who the hell is this now? See how long it is? I want to skip. Oh, Capricorn. She did a short little. Okay, cool. So she gonna go into us. Is she gonna go into when she did the lie detector test? Is she gonna go? You gonna see? I testified in your courtroom in this case in May of 2025. As you heard, I worked for Puff from 2004 to 2012. And during that time, I got to know him very well. Since Puff fired me in 2012, he has had me blacklisted from the industry. And I have had to take on multiple jobs to garner anything near my worth. Today, I am a single mother to a nonverbal autistic little boy living in Los Angeles. This ordeal has taken 14 years of my life, my career trajectory, and halted at 33 years old. What I lived through working for Puff, and in particular, the events of December 2011, altered the course of my life and have haunted me for years. I feel that I paid with my life for the events that transpired that fateful day we had to relive in federal court. I never wanted this. For many years, I could not tell my stories and lived in fear of Puff and fear of how I would feed my son. About a year and a half ago, HSI case agents found me and asked me what happened. Those agents changed my life. And I would like to say to the Southern District of New York is the epitome of prestige and professionalism. I was handled with the ultimate of care. But testifying publicly in front of Puff and his supporters was one of the hardest moments of my life. Every last word you heard from me was the truth. Yet I felt, and to be honest, still feel like I had to fight to prove that I am a victim because the purpose of kidnapping me wasn't for sex trafficking. What it was for was something more serious, more sinister, and more grave. Violence and absolute power unchecked in the ultra rich and famous. It's insane to me that all of the things that people heard, 2 counts of tuition of men, is the only thing that remains on the table. I wanted to speak up, tell the truth, and do the right thing when I was asked to testify. But I am afraid that women and girls in America feel less protected than ever watching what just happened. The lesson seemed to be that we should not speak up, not call law enforcement for help, and not say anything, but instead keep our head down and try to make our way. Regardless of what happens to us, I am afraid that this may be one realistic way to proceed in a modern world. The last ray of light is that you provide justice to us. You have a chance to finally help him know that he cannot just do what he wants to do to people. There are repercussions and consequences. He cannot just destroy other people's lives. Karma will come back in hundredfold ways. I would like Sean Combs to serve additional time in a correctional institution. I truly believe that serving more time will save Puff's life, as time away from his money, drugs, and his power is the only punishment that he'll recognize. I hope Puff has life on the other side of his time to make good on the changes that he knows he has to make, to spend time with his family and to get the chance to correct the damage that he's so recklessly done to so many people who only meant well by him. Thank you, Your Honor, for your time, your consideration, and for hearing us. Finally, God bless. Capricorn Clark. Crazy. Yeah, they kind of clip Puff. Who this? Like to see who it is, bro. What? Who this? Jane? Gotta be Jane, son. All of this? Come on, this gotta be Jane. Mr. Combs. Oh, this probably the chef. This is not a good man. Oh, this Deontay. Oh, this Deontay Nash. Damn, Deontay wrote a book, bro. Deontay different, bro. Deontay Nash wrote a book, homie. Deontay wrote a book, son. But think about this, though. Everybody can get some bread, though, in some ways. If you experience some trauma, you know what I mean? You can have a civil suit against them. He traumatized you in some way if it's in a 10-year period or something. It's crazy. Nasty work, bro. Nasty work. Let's see what Deontay was saying about it a little bit. Oh, hold up. Who in the chat? Let's see. The ruler said, oh, my man Chris came in there. He said they want him sentenced based off the accusations and not what he was convicted of there, son. It's just based on that. You know what I'm saying? But also, it's not just that. It's just what it really is this. This is what it really is. You know what I mean? What it really is. Hold up. We go back to the comment. Shout out to everybody that's in here with us. Salute. My man Chris. Doe in the chat with us. Yeah, Octavia said free Diddy off for everyone. You know what I mean? But I'm responding to this comment right here. You know what I mean? Shout out to the ruler report. What it is that not only that's what they're really trying to do, though. They're trying to do that. Besides that, they've also lost the big charges. So I think they're trying to get off all the time that they can get off within these 2 counts, which they know he's not going to get 20, but they're trying to push for the max of it. I think it's kind of smart for the prosecution to say, you know what, we push it for 11 years because that's the years that Cassie had to endure. But, you know what I mean? We know that the FOs really, y'all pushing FOs was the big deal, right? The baby all and all that. So don't act like y'all was thinking about love and marriage. Prosecution, I'm talking about. Exactly. So we can start that from 22 when the FOs is first introduced to her. Okay. From that to whatever. And that's about like 9 years or so. Give or take. So could he get it? Yeah. Based on some of these impact statements. Yeah. I think it could be impactful. But I also know that everything that's been alleged against you can be brought back against you in as relevant conduct. Even though the jury has found you guilty, I mean not guilty, that means that they couldn't agree to feel that you were guilty of that. You see what I'm saying? It takes 12 to agree on something too as well. And they couldn't agree. So maybe they didn't believe certain. Maybe the prosecution didn't display their case enough. You know what I mean? The judge could sit there though and feel like you're guilty of your charges, even though the jury has acquitted you of all these charges. You feel me? So now the prosecution is going to bring back all of those things that were alleged against you, the fraud, the coercion, the this, the that, and all of those things, even though you've been acquitted of it. This is what they're talking about here. You see what I'm saying? And I'll go to the sentence and the government sentencing memorandum and show you what they're talking about. I'm going to read it. I'm going to tell you. I already know what they're talking about. They're going back into all of that. The beatings, the violence, the dan. They're going into all of that, bro. So just because you only got these 2 institution charges, ain't no beatings in that, right? There's no beatings in his 2 charges that he got convicted of, right? No. It's paying for 2 men to come through to engage in tuition acts. That's what he's charged with, bro. But yet, abuse and violence keeps being mentioned. Even the judge mentioned it when he denied his bail. He said just based on those things alone, based on the physical violences, you're denied bail. Just based on the physical violence that you and your defense team own up to, because they've owned up to it from the very beginning, from the opening statements. Open the argument, whatever. I'm saying. So will this come back to bite Diddy and the you-know-whats? You know what I mean? It's a nasty one, though. It's a nasty one. Let's see what Deontay's talking about. Deontay, what you talking about, Deontay, man? Deontay's a trip. Let me see. Deontay's a trip. He was in the court bugging out, son. Straight. Talking about he trying to hook people up with what's his name? Michael B. Jordan. He was trying to get Cassie clipped, hooking up with Michael B. Yo, chill. Yo, Deontay. You know Diddy was on your kufi, son. Don't try to hook up. He said, look, thank you for the opportunity to share these thoughts. I write with great respect for the court and the difficult decision that it must weigh. Mr. Combs' attempt to secure release for his scheduled sentencing hearing demonstrate a troubling lack of accountability and a continued pattern of manipulation. The charges that he was convicted of, including the violations of the Mann Act, are not minor. They reflect serious, deeply disturbing conduct involving the coercion and transportation of individual for illegal sexual activity. The thought that Mr. Combs does not believe that he deserves jail time is both disturbing and frightening. Crazy. It underscored the depth of his lack of accountability and the danger he poses. Someone who refuses to acknowledge the harm that they have caused, who believes that they are above the law, demonstrates the same pattern of manipulation and abuse that has impacted so many lives. The fact that Mr. Combs believes that because he's harmed people he claimed to love or called friends, he somehow deserves leniency is outrageous. That seems, no, he said that sense of entitlement makes his actions even more sickening. Yet Mr. Combs continues to treat this process as negotiable. As he said, as though he is merely managing a legal inconvenience rather than confronting the consequence of federal crimes. His efforts to preempt the court's process show not only a lack of respect for the justice system, but also a refusal to acknowledge the severity of his actions. At one point, there was public indication that Mr. Combs intended to seek professional or mental health treatment. Whether that occurred remains unclear. What is clear, however, is that there has been no visible movement towards accountability. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's that. I spoke about that though, bro, in my last videos, especially when Mark Agnifilo came out and said that Diddy said he's going to be back on the main stage on Madison Square Garden. When Nicole Westmoreland came out and said that they was in talks with Trump, and then they both had to talk those statements back. I don't think that the bravado, I don't think that he being free need to be the talk from the defense's perspective. I think it needs to be more about some sort of accountability. And all of the things that, hey, all of the things that I was seeing, you know what I'm saying? It's like, we don't see what that change in that process looked like. You know what I'm saying? What does it look like? Yo, listen, I'm going to go about it like this. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be giving back to charities. I'm going to be giving out to victims. I'm going to be doing speeches. Whatever you think you're going to do, whether people think it's right or wrong, you need to be laying out that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I've been saying we haven't got a chance to hear any of this. So maybe when Diddy gets a chance before his sentencing, maybe he gets a chance to speak. Maybe he can speak. And maybe if he can speak, he could speak of some of these things. We just don't want to hear the surface level stuff. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Listen, just the charges and just his relationship with Cassie or Jane or to any of these other people, which we understand he was acquitted of certain charges. That's one thing. You know what I'm saying? What they want to hear is what you doing to change. Okay, you said you're taking a program in the jail. Okay, whoop-de-doo. Like Young Thug said, whoop-de-doo, bro. Okay, we understand that once you're in the facilities like that, you're going to take programs, whether you rehabilitating or not. You're going to do these things because these little programs and things help you with sentencing, help you with getting things off your time. It shows good if you go to the board or whatever. You know what I mean? Things like that. These little programs help you with that. That don't mean that you're going to really, really learn, because really the best program that he's really going to get is outside in the free world. Come on. How really good do you think is a program in jail going to be, bro? Come on, let's stop, bro. Let's be real with each other, bro. Them people that working in jail, people don't want to work every day, no matter where they at, Burger King, wherever they at. You think people really want to work in the jail? Unless they really in there doing some illegal shit and they got some friends that's in the jail? Come on, bro. Who really, really want to work? Think about it. And you in a jail at that, risking your damn life. Think about it, bro. Let's really think about it, son. Trust me, son. If you got to mop a floor, son, you might mop half the shit because you don't really want to work. Just be real, son. So think about that. But I just think I think that these impact statements are one also these impact statements, they're very like strategic, you know what I'm saying? Because Cassie came in one aspect, The family pushed for their time. Capricorn Clark came and pushed to, I mean, at least to the senses of knowing him from this time, and this will not change him. He has to stay in jail. Now here comes Deontay Nash pushing that he's pushing this lack of like this power trip that he's on. So they kind of, so you know what I'm saying? It's like it's a lot for the judge. It's a lot. It's a lot for the judge. His violence has not been limited to private encounters. The orchestrated FOs to assault on staff and strangers, his behaviors have left a long trail of victims, many whom still live in fear. Some of the worst abuse was inflicted on people who he claimed to love. This is not the story of one or two isolated incidents. This is a story of hundreds, possibly thousands of people whose lives have been scarred by his unchecked power and brutality. Mr. Combs must also refrain from comparing his crimes to those of others. Wow. No, they not. No, they not. No, Deontay. Yo, Deontay's coming for his goofy. What? Remember, they cited a couple of cases. They cited the Chavez case as one, and they cited the Stebic, Trowbridge, and Tills case, which was a case that these three guys was caught up in a tuitions, the same charge that he got, interstate tuition, carrying some women to another location, cross state lines to do the acts. But it wasn't for money though. It was like he was just busting toots. One of them, Trowbridge or Tills, or one of them was busting toots, and then his man's, he like, yo, I got some toots, and his man's was busting toots, and then he was like, yo, what up? He was talking to the toots. He like, yo, what up? Yo, I got some homeboys, some fraternity brothers. They probably cross state lines, wherever. They over here somewhere. Because it's in New York, they got charged. So probably they carried them to Buffalo, upstate, whoever knows, whatever. I knew at the time, but I'm telling you. So he carried them across state lines. So this is where they got the charges. But at that time, they never got remanded. So they was able to be freed and wait till their trial and go to trial free, back and forth to their trial until their trial was over, which one of them received like a year in jail and the other two guys received probation. But the other two guys had less involvement. One guy only traveled with the women to the place once. He brought them across the state lines, but he never bust them. He never had no sex with them. The other guy traveled maybe a couple of times with them, but I think he bust them. But he himself traveled like 6 or 7 times with them, and he was just clipping them. So they gave him the year. So that's why Diddy's people was trying to say he should get the 14 months. You see what I'm saying? 15 months would be like excessive if he even gets the 15 months. You know what I'm saying? So now for him, Deontay Nash, to come here and say this now is big boss. Who's saying this? Is it Deontay? Does Deontay think like this? Does the prosecution think like this? Jinkies, yes, they do. So regardless of the fact, the prosecution is going to take your statement and they're going to dress it up. They're going to make it look right. They're going to put whatever their parts they think in it. They're going to make each statement vary so they all come to the same point, but they don't, because you can see the same words that's in them. Why would they both say the same words? Like the trajectory of my career and things like that. Mia said this. Capricorn Clark said the same exact words, the trajectory of my career. Why? See what I'm saying? The prosecution is tailoring this to go in the way they want it to go. Obviously, Capricorn Clark, Deontay Nash, Cassie, whoever else has signed off on it to say, all right, no, that expresses how I feel. You know what I'm saying? You might draw up something, send it to them. Then they send you back something, say, look at this. You say, nah, that actually, and I think that was some of this, because I don't know how Deontay Nash would say this. See what I'm saying? But this still hurts Diddy. This line right here hurts Diddy a lot. Okay? As much as when Cassie said, they talking about some modern love story. She said this wasn't no modern, this is with no love. This is some horror. That's harsh. That's harsh for Diddy. All right, cool. Mr. Combs must also refrain from comparing his life and his crimes, to those of others. His conduct stands on its own and has set a new legal and cultural precedent. Son, listen to what I'm saying. I just told you this. That the judge right now is going to have to set precedents with this, because this is an extraordinary case. We understand that the defense team was also citing that this is an extraordinary case, which was trying to give him reasons for bail, citing some other people that then got freed from jail. right, based on the conditions. But that guy was an older man and was having maybe some health complication, maybe heart, lung related complications. So that's why that person was freed from jail. And this is why they said, no, Diddy. That man was older. He was going through whatever. That's not what you're dealing with right now. I know you in there with some situations, but just chill. And that's why the judge said no. See what I'm saying? Cool. So now his conduct stands on its own and has set a new legal and cultural precedent. This is no doubt, this is not about relative wrongdoing. It is about individual accountability for a decades-long pattern of abuse. There are many reasons why Mr. Combs should serve an appropriate sentence. Psychological impact on victims. His release would re-traumatize survivors, many of whom remain in hiding for their safety. The court has a duty to uphold justice and protect those speaking out. Influence over potential co-conspirators. Release would allow him to coordinate with uncharged associates to retaliate or construct false narratives. No remorse or accountability. To date, he has shown no genuine remorse, only carefully crafted statements issued under legal pressure. This lack of accountability should weigh heavily against any request for release. Public safety concerns. And finally, the allegations include violent physical abuse, death threats, and intimidations, and his release would endanger survivors and the public at large. Beyond legal concern, I want the court to understand the very real lived impact of Mr. Combs' abuse. This man has harassed everyone around us, including friends and business associates, so relentlessly that people no longer wanted to work with us or even spend time with us. We were ashamed to leave the house. The balcony he hung Bonner from, a place that once offered peace, became a site of terror. Cited that in there. Damn, did it really happen? Oof, because you know that the way Bonner got cooked up on the stage, it kind of was making it seem that Bonner lied or that Cassie and her was in some kind of coercive plot to put together the play because they couldn't agree where the thing took place. Cassie said it took place in a hotel room and another girl was there. And Bonner said, no, it took place in your, I think it's Stockton address. And he hung me off your balcony. So, and then they weren't speaking at one time, and then they got back together to speak around the time of Cassie's lawsuit. So it was a lot of little things about Cassie and Bonner's relationship that made me think like Cassie and Bonner were scheming or plotting, strategizing a bomb first on some pocket. You know what I'm saying? In some ways when you read it. But the balcony from that Bonner hung from, it offered peace, became a site of terror. The home he held me in against my will was my own. The keys and phone he stole were possessions I had earned through years of hard work, and he robbed me not only of safety, but of dignity. His reach was suffocating. He has caused lasting damage to the lives and careers of nearly everyone in his inner circle, past, present, and likely future. Some complied willingly, many more felt coerced. He taunted victims through songs that contradicted the truth, creating false narratives that could never safely be challenged because of the fear that he instilled. He pursued Cassie through her friends, despite both of us telling him she wanted no contact, and tried to manipulate situations by offering favors if I helped deliver her to him. He has openly declared to his victims that he does not respect or care about the legal systems. If he does not respect the court should not extend him any leniency. I do this not just for myself, but for every mother, father, child, grandparent, sister, brother, boyfriend, husband, wife, friend. This is Deontay Nash, man. This is him, John. This is the person he is. I do this, and he animated. I do this not just for myself, but for every mother, father, child, grandparent, sister, brother, boyfriend, husband, wife, friend, artist, intern, employee, and assistant who sacrificed for a man who only abused them in return. I have watched people take trains, move across the country, leave their families, and dedicate themselves fully, only to be mistreated, exploited, and silenced. Some of these same people have even left the entertainment industry entirely because of his actions. This issue is not only about violence, but also secrecy. Many of us were abused precisely because Mr. Combs wanted us to hold his secrets to maintain his reputation. The truth is, Mr. Combs never respected those who worked closest to him and with him. He rummaged through our lives while publicly pretending to suffer through hard times. He refuses to take responsibility privately or publicly, and the abuse was deliberate. The control was relentless, and the damage is lasting. The same ailments Mr. Combs now claims as an excuse are the very ones he has carried with him throughout his years of touring, conducting business, and abusing those around him. They never stopped him from being violent, abusive, or intoxicated when left to his own devices. They should not serve as an excuse now. True change cannot exist without acknowledging the harm that one has caused. Claiming to have changed while continuing to defend the very behavior that led to incarceration is not accountability. It is avoidance. Mr. Combs repeatedly shifts between denying responsibility, seeking sympathy, and reshaping the narrative to suit his immediate needs. Real transformation is consistent, honest, and comfortable and uncomfortable. It does not depend on who is watching or what outcome is desired. Until he confronts his own actions as wrong and takes full responsibility, any claim of change is hollow. I do not expect him to be in jail forever, but I am praying for a sentence that allows the victims to heal and encourages Mr. Combs to genuinely change. For all these reasons, I respectfully urge the court to deny his request for early release and deny his 14-month suggestion. He has been fighting the truth for the past year, and this ongoing denial is causing additional harm to the mental health and the mental well-being of the victims. Survivors deserve safety. The public deserves protection, and justice demands accountability. Judge, this is not a good man. Thank you so much for your time, Judge Abraham Submarini, and your consideration means a great deal to me and to the victims. Respectfully, Chicken Scratch, Deontay Nash, and Exhibit F. Oh, Chef Jourdan, here you go. I don't want to read you. Hey, you want to send the whole book? No, I'm done with her. Chef Jourdan. Oh, I'm done. I'm done.
Oh no, you can't. That's some bullshit right there.
Kid rocks. Kid rocks, homie. Yo, bro, how's she gonna come out and write a whole book right now? When people wanted you to come pop out in the court. People wanted you to come pop out in the court, woman. That's crazy. That's nasty work. That's nasty work. I'm not gonna hold you. That's nasty. Chef Jourdan. Oh my God, what you got to say? Hold on 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. Let me take 2 pulls of this. Bro, that's nasty, bro. Chef Jourdan, son? Nah, that's crazy, bro. That's nasty work, bro. If that's the case, you should have popped out in the court, bro. How you ain't pop out in the court, but then you want to write a whole book? Or was this her first letter that she been wrote and they just pushing it out now? What is this? It's crazy. I'm just going to read some of this to see what the hell's going on. This was Sean Combs' personal chef from summer 2007 through the spring of 2010. She says, during my time, I can say, hold on, man, 2 pulls for Chef Jourdan. Hold up. And I still got the other 100 or something pages to read. So I'm going to do that on the next stream. It's crazy. I'm going to try to get it out, at least get some of it off as much as I can. All right. During my time, I can say, everybody hit the poll that's here. It doesn't matter who's here. YouTube be acting up with the notifications. Make sure that y'all have the notifications on all. If you're not getting my notifications at all, unsubscribe, subscribe back, and hit the notification bell to all. All right. During my time, I can say that I was extremely overworked, underpaid, mentally abused, exploited, and at one point I was assaulted by Sean Combs. Not only was I exploited by Sean Combs, I was also exploited by his HR executive staff. Throughout my time there, they would constantly manipulate me into silence and staying in my position by saying that they would get help to ensure I had off days. There was come on, man. Come on, bro. I don't care about your job, bro. I Hold up, man. Let me see. Skip. Over the head about your job, lady. Straight. This was the toxic and abusive workplace. Okay, let's go from there. Environment that I've ever been in my entire career. It was extremely traumatizing to relive all of this. It was hard to live through the first time around in my mid 20s. Now in my mid 40s, a lot of things I was too young and naive to understand, but the reality of it all is cemented in my mind now. I have spent the past year and a half in a constant fight state or flight mode, and I am currently trying to heal and repair all of the damage. There was also a time in which Sean Combs threatened my life to keep me silent about his abuse towards Cassandra Ventura Fine. I have a journal from this time that I've never read until Cassie's case came out in November 2023. And it was like opening Pandora's box and reading what my 20-year-old self endured. I was there to witness the start of Sean Combs and Cassie's relationship. This has been an extremely traumatizing time in my life the past year and a half, having to unearth the past and relive it all again. I have never forgot what I experienced during my time there, but I for sure buried it in order to survive. I spent the past 18 years building my career in the high profile sector, and this case has destroyed that life I worked so hard to create. When you become personal staff to high profile people, you become part of a secret society. Discretion is the foundation. I didn't willingly participate in this case. What I recognize now, this is what happens with collective silence. My silence gave Sean Combs the space and time to grow into a more violent criminal. It's not good. When I started working for Sean Combs, he and Cassandra were in the grooming phase. What? That's how she described it? That's crazy. That's crazy. So then that's why they pushed her for the 11. They saying that he spent the first couple of years grooming her, basically, just preparing her for the FOs. So that's what the prosecution basically saying. So if you feel that, then you know what I mean, you could feel that. You know what I'm saying? Because she was 19, she was younger, he was 32 or something crazy. You know what I mean? You could know better, you should know better, you're a grown man. And you wouldn't want nobody treating your daughter like this at all. You'd have probably been in jail right now, Diddy, if somebody was even trying to do any of this to his daughters. Straight up. So therefore, that's kind of, you know what I mean? Look, she was 19, he was 36. My bad. He was 36. So when I said 32, 36 years old. My bad. It's crazy. So you're supposed to do better by this. Just based on this alone, it's 36, and this, yeah, you're supposed to do better by that. There were lavish dinners, shopping sprees, etc., all in the guise of creating a new artist. Sean was working her down like men with money do. I was there in Miami when their working relationship turned romantic during that weekend when they kissed in the bathroom and they had sex in the boat. I saw Cassandra provided copious amounts of D-rugs. I encountered her extremely high, out of her mind, and offered her food to help bring her down. I witnessed Sean cursing his assistant, David James, out for not having condoms on the yacht. I remember thinking that it was crazy and gross. Like, why is he so mad about condoms not being on the yacht? It's never that serious. It stuck out in my mind because that's when I knew that this was no longer a working relationship. They were both extremely high the whole weekend, and really thereafter, and really thereafter, I saw Sean abuse prescription meds, weed, and ecstasy. Throughout those early months, it was heavy D-rug use. I saw him extremely controlling, and I would say that there was an obsessive nature about them. He would go on D-rug binges about them. Obsessive nature about them or him. Obsessive nature about their relationship. Is he saying both from Cassie and him? That's a key word for us to look at. This them that's right here. See what I'm saying? Why is it them and not him? All right. He would go on the D-rug binges and he wouldn't let any of us sleep, let alone get any breaks. I was working 17 to 21 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I worked for almost 2.5 to 3 months straight until until my first off day. Damn, she worked for like damn near 3 years before her first off day. For 17 to 21 hours a day for 7 days a week. He screamed and cursed at me when he saw me having Casual conversation with Cassie. He said that I wasn't supposed to be talking to her, that if it wasn't about food. He also cursed me out when he saw me speaking to guests at one of his parties. He was watching me from across the room. Then he pulled me aside and said that I wasn't supposed to be talking to his friends, that he didn't work all these years for me to come and steal his relationships. Sean Combs, that's crazy. Sean Combs would cure me out. Would cure me out? Curse. Sean, this is what I'm saying. How they put this thing out? This thing got grammatical errors. This thing got spell check errors. What? When was this from? When was this from? Was this the first thing that they just threw in the thing? The statement that they got from her from the very beginning, just threw it in there, say, look, this is the statement from her. This is an impact statement from her. Boom. Is that or is this new, bro? Why is it looking like that? Why don't her statement look like everybody else's that's new? Why does it look like this? Why can't I look? Why it's like a picture? Why can't I make it blue? Remember when I did it on the other lines and I highlight the line? Why can't I? Why this is like a picture? Think about that, bro. I think that this is an old thing from what she been had, and they threw it in here. That's what this is. But they put it in as far as an impact statement because she never got to speak during the trial, but she was the person that knows him well. So then that's how come they threw this in there. So that's crazy. They should have got something new from her. He said he would curse me out if I fed people without permission. See, would cure me out. See, cure me out. So I'm saying this is weird. He made me feel like I had to look at the floor and not make eye contact with guests. I'd say like a pimp does to his women. During this time in November 2007, while at the Miami estate, I witnessed Sean Combs get aggressive and borderline violent with the estate manager, Amanda. He was enraged by the fact that Amanda was allowing her house staff to eat. When Sean Combs questioned her about it, she lied and she said she never told me to feed them. Amanda and I actually got into a disagreement about me feeding the staff because I told her I wasn't being paid to do that. I actually called HR to get clarity. They informed me that I was supposed to feed them. And one day, Sean Combs observed the groundskeeper making themselves a plate, even though I said they shouldn't because he hadn't even eaten yet himself. Of course, as they are making their plates, he comes downstairs. Once he sees this, he immediately starts screaming and cursing about who told them that they could eat. I stood there silent. I didn't want to get anyone in trouble. I couldn't tell if he was that furious. Ultimately, Sean Combs' security told him that Amanda told me that I was supposed to feed them. Sean Combs then called both Amanda and I into